Good morning on the first Friday in September, and in fact it's the 1st of September this morning. And we hope you've, over this summer, had time for some rest and refreshment. And though on the basis of the amount of work in the fields going on around Southwell, when we've been out with the dogs, I don't think the farmers have had much rest this summer with all the harvesting, but hopefully once all that's gathered in, they can take some well-earned rest.
Yes, certainly. And you probably see from the beautiful rows behind us, it's a reminder actually gardeners have been working probably quite hard this summer as well. But with the 1st of September, of course, it also means that schools are going back very soon, just in the next few days, at some point for many next week. And we will know children, perhaps maybe even in our family, who we will be thinking about. And thinking especially about those who are starting at a school for the very first time, or a new school this next week. And for one of our sons and for his wife, our daughter-in-law, they're actually starting this next week as school teachers for the very first time. So they're feeling all the anxiety and concerns that you have with anything new, and there'll be people starting new jobs in other ways over these next weeks. Of course, it seems only a short while ago that we were taking him to school, and now he's seeing it from the other side.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't imagine any of us can ever forget what it's like to start a new school or a new job, and we can feel very anxious and alone. And so when we read this Psalm 41, the opening verses seem to speak to us about the importance of looking out for those in need of support and help. And the psalm begins, and we're just going to read the first verse this morning, and it begins, "Blessed are those who have regard for the weak. The Lord delivers them in times of trouble."
And Jesus may well have had this psalm in mind, and particularly those opening verses when he taught the Beatitudes, and especially that verse which says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy." And that's the theme that runs right through the whole of this Psalm 41. David starts, though, by acknowledging and even affirming what a difference someone can make when they move towards someone in need. There's a sort of merciful kindness that's being expressed. And particularly when that expression of kindness, that movement is not something that's based on obligations, not because it's something they have to do, but actually it's something that they do because they've noticed. And there's a word that David uses in the Hebrew in this opening verse, which actually is quite attentive. The verse actually says, "Blessed is the one who has regard or considers or thinks about the person in need." And that's where it begins, by noticing someone. Considering their situation, and that's what then moves us, and it's a very godly thing when we're moved in our heart towards that person to connect with them in their need.
And when we were talking about it, this reminded us of the image of when a child notices someone in the playground, perhaps standing on their own, and it's a very powerful thing to watch them leave their group and go and speak with them and stand with them and perhaps involve them in the group. And would never be forgotten. And though it may not, the person who did it never realises the difference it makes. And this can be so powerful and also powerful in the world of adults to go and do that. But it starts with noticing that person, having eyes to see those people in need.
Yeah, and what this psalm reminds us, as David continues, is that of course it is God who is merciful towards us, and that our reaching out to others can be inspired and affirmed by what God has done for us as he moves to us in his love and his mercy to forgive us and to draw us to himself, to give comfort and encouragement and hope, whatever troubles, whatever trials we may be facing, as David was in this psalm. So it's not just a good thing to remember as we see people who are new around us, whether it's in the workplace or at school, or for those going to college, a reminder to pray for them, but also to receive that love, the merciful love of God, who moves towards us and draws us to himself.
It also reminded us of a wonderful old hymn, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus," which contains the lines, "Jesus knows our every weakness, take it to the Lord in prayer. And this will be a good thing to pray for anyone starting a new job or school or facing a challenge this autumn
Yeah.
that leaves them feeling weak and perhaps alone, to pray that they'll come to know the friendship of Jesus, who is with them and for them.
Yeah. So with September, often holding new things starting up, and that's true in across our churches as well, as activities get started again, and we try to reach out to people who perhaps outside the church or people who come new along to various activities or services, and of course especially along to our schools, and to pray for them, and to pray that we'll notice people in need, we'll move towards them, but we'll also, whatever trials or challenges we may be facing, we'll recognize again the merciful love of God that moves towards us. And so that's our prayer for all of you, wherever you are through September, across the diocese, beyond the diocese, friends who connect with us through Start the Day. May you experience the loving mercy of God moving towards you, and may we together notice those around us in need. God bless you this weekend and throughout September.